Look at this. Secretary of Defense Hagel said today that there's a problem with foreign fighters aiding the self-proclaimed Islamic State of Iraq and al-Sham. Includes far more Americans than previously reported, at least 100 and counting. Hagel said, quote, "We have acknowledged publicly we're aware of over 100 U.S. citizens who have U.S. passports who are fighting in the Middle East with ISIL forces," he said in a TV interview. "There may be more. We don't know." Okay, now, the way I see it, you're Secretary of Defense, and you've now posed a problem. What's the fix? And this is why I think so many of you are frustrated. Okay, we got it. These animals hate us. Some of them have either come into our country from other countries and settled or have been born here, but they've now joined the enemy. Now, what are we going to do about it? I have said time and again now that these people have, by their own actions, relinquished their United States citizenship. They should not be permitted back in the country. And if the crackpots insist on judicial review, it should be judicial review by a military tribunal. That's the way it's supposed to be done, and not on our own territory at Guantanamo Bay. And there's somewhat of a foundation for this. As I did my research for the program, Section 349 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, 8 U.S.C. 1481 is amended. And it explains how citizens are subject to loss of citizenship if they perform certain specified acts voluntarily and with the intention to relinquish U.S. citizenship. And by their acts in joining the Islamo-Nazis, we should use common sense and certainly interpret that to mean an intention to relinquish U.S. citizenship. And it provides 7 bases for it. And let me give you the 2 that matter to me. Taking an oath, affirmation, or other formal declaration to a foreign state or its political subdivisions. Entering or serving in the armed forces of a foreign state engaged in hostilities against the U.S., or serving as a commissioned or non-commissioned officer in the armed forces of a foreign state. That, too, common sense interpretation. See, I've got a phone and a pen, too. Terrorists. Terrorists. If these so-called U.S. citizens are joining up with the enemy, that has decapitated 2 Americans and done far worse to more Americans and more people. Horrific acts of evil. Well then, they are not to be citizens any longer. Now, this is percolating out there, but it's not percolating enough. So when you have the Secretary of Defense talk about there's 100 of these people at least, there may be more, it's not enough to tell us about it. What the hell are you going to do about it? And then, of course, is the issue of securing the border. I've said now for some time, I said on Fox, I've said behind this microphone, we are going to get hit. And we are going to get hit as a result of our laxed security, border security, and other forms of security. We are going to get hit. And it'll be a soft target, as I've also tried to explain. It'll be horrendous. It'll be in a sort of place that you and I and your family members frequent. A large grocery store, a sporting event, perhaps a high school stadium, one of our subway systems, a mall, a large mall, particularly in states that have disarmed its populations, movie theaters, amusement parks, Disney World, Universal, you name it, all there for the pickings. because they will not secure the border. They will not secure the border. And to this day, we have people like Luis Gutierrez running around insisting on open immigration, insisting on open borders. So blinded by their racism, so blinded by their hate, that the country really doesn't matter. The country really doesn't matter. All of these things are related. All of these things are related.